Have you ever seen anything strange in the sky that you could not explain? Anything weird in the woods? Any strange creatures? Ever seen a ghost? These are things that fascinate me. I'm fascinated by the subject of the unknown, the paranormal, the unexplained. So today, we're going to talk about a book called Northern Lights High Strangeness in Sweden by Fred Andersson. I first discovered Fred Andersson through social media. I want to say it was on Mastodon, to be honest. And then I followed him on Instagram. And just the stuff that he talks about and the weird things that he's into, I found fascinating. And then I heard he was coming out with the book, this one right here. And I knew I had to freaking get it. What I also thought was really cool is I've read a lot of different books about strange things in the skies, UFOs, the phenomena, cryptids, ghosts, and what have you. And a lot of the stuff about UFOs is kind of, most of it's in the same areas, whether it's, you know, in the US or there's some stuff in South America, but I really haven't read anything like too much overseas, like some stuff in the UK and whatnot, but Sweden I've heard absolutely nothing about. I know a little bit about the lore. For me, this is super exciting to hear about stuff from a country that I had not read anything about or heard anything about with any kind of paranormal stuff. So that's always fascinating because it's new stories. Like what's similar? What's not similar? What are the compare and contrast things? This book is a fascinating look at like stuff in Sweden that has been unexplained in a time span from 1920 up into 2013. Fred Andersson is a television freelancer. He's worked on documentaries, programs with a paranormal theme, and he has a podcast, and it's all about strange things and the paranormal. So he's a researcher, a podcaster, and an author, and he's located in Sweden. And his main focus is on high strangeness, the paranormal, and UFOs. This book gets into like the different sightings, different types of ships that were seen, different types of possible creatures, weird things coming out of ships, some of them shaped like weird fuzzy boxes. Who knows? Just the different experiences that people had and how all of it may be interconnected. And he also talks a bit about a little bit of the lore in Sweden, like connecting with trolls and elves and the fae. And there's just such a great wealth of knowledge that you get. It was absolutely fascinating. If you have any interest in the subject matter, this is a fantastic read. If you're not interested in the paranormal or this, don't get the book because you're gonna be like, Sin, you are a crazy person and like weird thing. I would say yes, I am a somewhat crazy person and I do really like weird things. But if you're interested in the subject matter, it's cool to get another take from a different country that you just haven't heard from. You get into the different cases and studies that have happened, and some of them that have like all these different elements. One of the first like cases that he talks about is this couple. They were near some woods and they were seeing these like red lights near the treetops, and then they left to go home, but then they came back, and as they were trying to find these lights, they found this like padlocked creepy cabin. But then they were seeing like weird lights in the cabin, orbs or something. So they're like, oh my God, let's get out of here. So they took off and then they tried to go to the one guy's house, or I think it was his parents' house that he lived with. No one was home, they couldn't get in. So they're like, okay, let's go to his sister's, which is a little further down the road. And then when they're going down the road, they see this like weird creature. And the weird creature had like an X where its mouth should be, and it had a weird object in its hand. As you can see, there's like a conglomerate of things that happened there. It wasn't just UFOs. It wasn't just a strange creature. There was a creepy cabin involved, and there was orbs. There's so much, it seems like, in this whole paranormal thing. And I don't always understand the splinter cells off where we're like, we're just ghosts. We're only cryptids. Bigfoot is a ape. It's not some sort of interdimensional creature. Bigfoot is not a tree spirit. He could be. He could be a tree spirit. We don't know. Could be a poltergeist. So I don't get the splinter cell idea. I think so much of it's connected. Fred talks about a lot of that connection through the stories that he shares and the research that he's done into this and into these subject matters. And I think the more that it's looked at, the more interconnectedness you find, whether it's with cryptids and ghosts and UFOs and orbs and just the similarities and strange coincidences of when that phenomena happens, like within certain parameters of each other. It's just a nice kind of deep deep dive into it. I really enjoyed reading this. I love learning more about the weirdness and the weird things that happen in our world that are outside of our reality, but that maybe we just can't always see or tap into. So I always find that fascinating. And if you're into the strange and paranormal and looking for hearing stories that are not from the same places and not the same ones told over and over again, I feel like if you watch any of the paranormal shows that talk about like different UFO sightings in this, it's all the same ones over and over and over again. Betty and Barney Hill, Rendlesham, like all the same freaking stories. And so it's nice to have new ones. Put this on your list if you like the paranormal and UFOs and strange things. Northern Lights, High Strangeness in Sweden by Fred Andersson. And if you are a fan of paranormal books about weird stuff, next video coming up will be about that. So stick around, check it out. And if you had fun hanging out today, hit that subscribe button, come back, see me again, and we'll talk about more bookish things and weird stuff.